begins so quietly, she does not even notice. A small change in the way she answers, a hesitation before she speaks, a softer tone when she disagrees. At first it feels harmless. She tells herself she is just keeping the peace, that she is choosing her battles, that it is not worth creating tension over something small. But those small moments start to collect. One day she holds back her opinion about where they should go. Another day she says yes to a plan she does not enjoy. She changes her clothes because she senses he prefers something else. She eats at the restaurant he likes instead of the one she has been craving. These are not big sacrifices in her mind. They feel like gestures of love, like proof that she is easygoing and understanding. Slowly, without her realizing, these concessions become the pattern. She apologizes first even when she is not wrong. She stops sharing her dreams because they never seem to be taken seriously. She avoids talking about what bothers her because the conversation always turns against her. She smiles when she feels like crying. She says it's fine when it isn't single. The trap is not built in a day. It is built in moments like these, repeated so often they become invisible. And the most dangerous part is that they are disguised as kindness, loyalty, patience. She does not see it as losing herself. She sees it as being the best partner she can be. Over time, her world becomes smaller. The music she once played without thinking is replaced with silence because he does not like the noise. The hobbies she loved are set aside because they take up too much time. The friendships that gave her joy fade away because there is never a good time to meet. She tells herself she is fine, that this is what love asks for. But deep down, a quiet ache begins to grow. She starts to measure her words carefully. She studies his mood before deciding what to say. She feels herself shrinking in ways she cannot explain. And yet, she still calls it love. She still calls it compromise. Because admitting the truth would mean facing something she is not ready to face. This is why the trap is so powerful. It does not feel like control from the outside. It feels like choice from the inside. And by the time she realizes it is a prison, the walls have been built so high that she cannot see the way out. She tells herself that strong relationships require effort, that sometimes you have to put someone else first. And in healthy love, that can be true, but here, the balance is gone. The effort is no longer shared. It is her bending, her changing, her giving, over and over again, until she cannot remember the last time she chose something purely for herself. There are nights when she lies in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why she feels so heavy. On paper, her life looks fine. The home is stable, the routines are familiar, there is no constant fighting. But her heart feels restless. Her mind feels crowded with words she never says. She remembers the version of herself who laughed louder, spoke freely, took up space, without hesitation, and she wonders where that woman went. This trap is not always obvious to those on the outside. Friends may think she is simply devoted, that she is just a woman who loves deeply. Family may see her as committed and loyal, and she plays along with that image because it is easier than explaining the truth, that her love has been built on the slow erosion of her own needs. Sometimes, the signs are so small, they are easy to dismiss. She stops wearing a certain color because he once made a comment about it. She avoids bringing up a topic because it always ends in silence or tension. She edits her own personality to fit into the version of herself she thinks will be most accepted. Each choice feels like nothing in the moment. Together, they become everything. And the hardest part is that no one takes these pieces from her. She gives them away. Not because she is weak, but because she has been taught that this is what love looks like. That to be chosen, you must be easy to be with. That your worth comes from how well you adapt to someone else's world. This is how the trap tightens without her noticing. It does not close suddenly. It narrows slowly, one decision at a time, until she wakes up one day and realizes she no longer recognizes the woman in the mirror. Her voice is still there, somewhere deep inside. Her desires have not vanished, but they are buried under years of choosing silence over truth, peace over honesty, survival over self. Before we go deeper, if you have ever felt like you gave too much of yourself and lost parts you never meant to lose, the Jung Method can help you understand why. It shows you the patterns that shape your choices and how to reclaim the parts of yourself you want to keep. The link is pinned in the first comment. She never saw it coming. Yet one day, she realized she was living in it. The trap was not loud or obvious. It crept in quietly. like a shadow following her into every corner of her life. When a woman lives in this trap for too long, something inside her starts to fade. At first, it is only a quiet voice, a gentle reminder of the person she used to be. But with time, that voice becomes harder to hear. The space where her joy used to live feels smaller. The energy she once carried turns into a weight she cannot explain. She begins to move through life in a way that looks fine from the outside. She fulfills her roles, keeps her promises, shows up where she is expected. But inside, there is a constant sense of absence. It is not sadness exactly. It is not anger either. It is the emptiness that comes from living a life that is not fully hers. The mind adapts to survive, so she learns to convince herself that everything is normal. She compares herself to women who seem to have it worse and tells herself she should be grateful. She counts the good moments and uses them as proof that nothing is wrong. But deep down, she knows the truth. The moments when she feels alive are rare, and they are never because she is fully herself. Over time, this becomes the new normal. She forgets what it felt like to wake up excited for the day. She forgets how it felt to speak without rehearsing her words in her head. She forgets the ease of being in her own skin without measuring how she might be perceived. These things are not gone forever, but they are buried under years of prioritizing someone else's comfort over her own truth. The longer she stays in this pattern, the more she starts to believe this is all life has to offer. And this belief is what keeps the trap closed, because if she cannot imagine a life where her needs matter, she will never try to step outside of the limits she has accepted. Recognition never comes all at once. It begins with small moments that interrupt the pattern. A sentence she hears from someone else that stays with her longer than expected. A question she asks herself in the quiet of the night. A memory that rises uninvited, reminding her of a time when she felt alive in a way she has not felt in years. One day she notices she is holding back a thought, and instead of letting it fade, she asks herself why. She realizes she has been doing this for so long she cannot remember when it started. Another day she catches herself saying "I'm fine" and hears the hollowness in her own voice. She begins to see how many of her daily choices are shaped, not by what she wants, but by what will keep the peace. These realizations do not instantly break the trap, but they plant something important: awareness. And awareness is the first crack in the walls she has built around herself. The more she notices, the more she begins to question. Why do I choose silence over truth? Why do I avoid saying what I feel? Why do I believe my needs will only cause trouble at first? The answers scare her. They reveal the cost of her silence, the years she has lived in a version of herself that was never complete. She sees how her world has grown smaller, how her voice has grown quieter, how her energy has been spent protecting the comfort of others at the expense of her own. Fear mixes with strength, because now she cannot unsee it. She cannot go back to pretending it is not there. And with that truth comes a choice. She can continue as she has, or she can begin to reclaim the pieces she left behind. The process is not sudden. It might begin with a single conversation where she says what she truly thinks. It might be choosing to spend time with people who make her feel more like herself. It might be trying something she once loved, just to see how it feels now. Each small step is a way of reminding herself that she exists beyond the limits she has accepted. She may not have all the answers. She may still feel fear. But each time she acts from her own truth, she loosens the grip of the trap. And over time, those small moments of courage begin to connect, creating a path toward a life where her voice is not only heard, but valued. There are days when she slips back into the old pattern. Days when silence feels safer, when the trap feels too strong. But now she recognizes it. She can see when she is shrinking. She can hear the difference in her own voice when she is not speaking from truth. And this awareness keeps her from staying there for long. As she grows more comfortable in her own truth, she starts to notice the changes around her. Some people pull away, unable to adjust to the new boundaries she sets. Others are drawn closer, seeing her light in a way they never had before. The relationships that were built only on her silence begin to lose their grip. She realizes that freedom is not just about walking away from the trap. It is about refusing to play her part in keeping it closed. She is no longer waiting for permission to be herself. She is no longer measuring her worth by how well she can keep the peace. Freedom begins with choosing differently. It might be in small ways at first, speaking when she would have stayed quiet, saying no when it feels uncomfortable, reclaiming a part of her life she once gave away. Each decision becomes a declaration that her needs matter, that her voice deserves space, that her truth is not negotiable. This shift is not about becoming someone entirely new. It is about returning to the woman she was before she learned to shrink. The one who laughed without holding back. The one who wore what she loved without wondering who would approve. The one who believed she had the right to take up space in her own life. When she starts to live from this place, everything changes. The people who valued her compliance more than her soul step back, and in their place, she attracts what aligns with her truth. The trap loses its power because she no longer plays her part in keeping it closed. And when she looks back, she sees that the turning point was not the moment she left the trap, but the moment she decided she would never silence herself again. That is when she truly stepped out. She begins to understand that leaving the trap is not a single dramatic moment. It is a series of choices made every day. Some are small and almost invisible to others. Choosing to pause before agreeing to something and asking herself if she truly wants it. Allowing her face to reflect what she feels instead of forcing a smile. Giving herself permission to rest without needing to justify it. These moments add up. Slowly, they rebuild the connection she has with herself. She starts to feel the return of energy she thought was gone forever. Her thoughts are clearer. Her laughter comes more easily. She no longer rehearses every word in her head before speaking. And in those unguarded moments, she feels alive again. There are still times when doubt visits her. Times when she wonders if she is being selfish or difficult. But now she recognizes that these thoughts are echoes from the past. From a time when her worth was tied to her ability to make herself small. She chooses not to let those echoes decide who she will be. With each choice that honors her truth, she steps further away from the life that kept her hidden. The trap that once felt unshakable now seems like a shadow behind her, unable to touch her as long as she keeps moving forward. She understands that the power she was searching for was never outside of her. It was always in the courage to be herself, even when it felt risky. It was in trusting her voice, honoring her needs, and believing that she deserves a life where she can stand fully in who she is. And so she moves forward, not as the woman who survived the trap, but as the woman who outgrew it completely. Her life is hers again, and she will never give it away so easily.